Good evening, everyone. It's Linda here, just waiting for a couple of people to jump in, and then we'll get started. Hi Jackie, how are you, darling? Okay, I'll just hold off for a little bit longer and then I'll start and we'll get started. All right, okay, I'll get started, and I'm sure others may pop in and out as we go along, and that's okay. A lot of people are very busy. I realise that it's a very busy time of year. Anyway, welcome to Inspired Art Journaling. I'm Linda, and there's the details for the Inspired Art Journaling, or Your Creative Palette is my business name. And so tonight I just thought, I haven't got a real big plan, but I kind of just felt I wanted to use hearts for whatever reason. I don't know, I've got this bit of an idea in my head, and so I thought I will do something with hearts. And so let me just move all this out the way and then just talk to you more. And hi Susan, how are you, lovely? Thought you might have been out packing. Now again, I am trying to do this live. I've made a big decision that for next year I'm going to be doing all my lives on YouTube, because I don't know what it is because the view that you're seeing is the view that they do for the reels, and that seems to be the big thing at the moment is reels, and so they like it in this portrait layout. But for creating, it's really just not appropriate. And I've looked and I don't know what the issue is, so from next year I'm going to be doing all my lives on YouTube. And that way, you know, it's all set in the one place, and all of my videos and anything that I do will be done through the YouTube. But anyway, I'll talk more about that over the next few weeks or whatever. But so I've kind of had to structure everything to try and make it workable. But anyway, I'm doing the best I can, and so Facebook has got the better of me, and I'll move on to YouTube and see how we go with that. Anyway, I've decided to work in my 20 by 20 journal book tonight. Oh, Susan, well done. She's packed. Oh, hi, Dee. How are you, darling? It's good to see. Yes, I know, you poor thing. Yeah. Yeah, Susan, so if I don't talk to you tomorrow night, do have a good trip, darling. I'm sure it'll be a lovely, lovely time for you. And so, yeah, I'm sure you'll have lots of stories to tell. And yes, YouTube, I think, is certainly going to work better for me because this system is just not working. I don't know, because I run an Android phone. I don't know if it's got something to do with that. The people who are using Apple don't seem to have too many issues, so I just don't know what the story is. But anyway, I'll move on and change to what suits me. Okay, so 20 by 20 journal I've decided to use, and this afternoon I decided to cut out some templates for hearts. Got another one here somewhere, I've already lost it. But so that's where I got the cutout idea from. Really not a big plan at the moment, and so, you know, we're going to be learning this together. Okay, so I've cut out, there's 3 templates, but I don't know what's happened to the third one. But also, oh, here, there it is. So there's the 3 templates that I made this afternoon. And then, honestly, I just got, and I know we've all got stashes like this, where a lot of these papers that you see here, like this one, for instance, you know, whenever there's a new Lindy's or something like that, I just make up some Lindy's and have a bit of a splash around. And so I end up with all these beautiful papers that I just leave sitting in my stash there, and you know, one day I'll use them. So today I thought, let's have a go with some of these. Whether I use them all, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not real sure of the plan. This is some paper that I also did some hearts on, some vellum using the Lindy's, so we'll see how that goes. It gets all crinkly and that kind of thing, but that's good. And that's the beauty about art journaling. You've got to just have a go and just see what works and what doesn't work. So I have pre-cut out a lot of those. I will cut out a couple more. But what I did do with my page here, you can see I've made a bit of a cutout. So I used the big one, and just on the page I just traced around the shape, put that in there, traced around again, and then I used the small one just to finish that off. So then I cut around that, and then I just trace the heart back onto it when it's finished. And yeah, so that's kind of about as far as I've gone as far as preparation goes. I've got all sorts of bits and pieces here. I'm sure we all have a folder. That I've got this folder here, which you won't be able to see much of, but any offcuts that I have, or any bits and pieces that I've done over the time that I you know, practice with papers and that, and it just sits under my desk, and then every now and then I grab it out, and it's useful sometimes for doing your ATCs and smaller tags and stuff like that. I found a little bag of papers that I've just left over from whatever I'm doing. So my idea tonight was to sort of just go back to the basics, like what we I suppose styles and trends change over time, and so, you know, I feel like what I'm doing now is very different to what I was doing, say, a couple of years ago. And I think sometimes it's good to go back and just do some of that stuff that you used to do before, because there was nothing wrong with it. But I guess we try out these new products and things, and you know, we just like to experiment a little. So I've got lots of papers there that I'll do the old collage thing and all that kind of thing. And I found a couple of Nat's bits that I've, you know, used in other projects, so I thought I might, I know there was a bit of a special on those, so I'm not quite sure on the stock levels of those, but of course any collage paper will do, any sort of scribbles or whatever. I haven't really, like I say, I don't really know what I'm doing with those at the moment. And look, I've got a few pictures and that here that I collect. Yeah, so, you know, I've just cut out pages. A lot of these I actually cut out when I was at the retreat Nat's retreat in May. Usually when I fly down, I grab a magazine at the airport, and it's usually like a fashion sort of magazine, something that's got a lot of interesting pictures in it. This is obviously all models, and so then I just cut out all of the pictures, and then I save them. So one day something might take my fancy, and I'll use it. Plus I take all the words out. Go your own way. So there's all sorts of things. So always look at your magazines and rip out all the pages, etc. And of course I've got my Funky Fossil stencil here that I will put in the background as well. And I've got out my Dina Wakely paints so that I could use those. Again, I'm not even sure what colours I'm using at the moment. I've got lots of pinks and blues in the heart, so maybe I'll have to go with something a little bit different. Maybe pick up a lot of the greeny colours. Not sure. But anyway, so let's get started and yes, have a little bit of fun. So I will, for the moment, I'll stick down some collage paper. So I'll get my, where is it? Seem to be going to this at the moment, only because it's just handy. This is, it is a matte medium. It's just, oh no, that's glazing medium. I don't want that. Sorry, yep, matte medium. Okay, and get a brush. Oh, let me grab a brush. Yes, Susan, I want to see lots of photos when you're doing your travels. And it'll be lovely to, you're meeting up with family or something over there, aren't you? You're seeing some family as well. So, again, I'm just going to rip these into strips. Tear some that way. No real plan, let's just put some bits down and just see how we go. Don't know about anyone else. Have we all done our Christmas shopping? And pretty much done mine, I think. I need to sort of sit down and just lay it all out and just make sure. I've got the grandkids with me at the moment, so I won't be wrapping any presents just at this point. I'll have to wait till they go on the weekend, and then I'll have a look and see what I've got, what I haven't got, and then panic because I've got lots of shopping I need to do. But anyway, yeah, so like I was saying before, I'm going to really seriously look into doing a YouTube channel next year. I've kind of got it set up now. I'm just in the throes of doing all of that at this point. And so, you know, a few changes for me next year, but we'll see how it all goes. So hopefully things that you might be interested in checking out. Keep that creativeness happening. And look, I don't even know if these are up the right way or whatever. I'm just putting them down. Now, I've got a few that I like this alphabet one, so I might grab a bit of that as well. Staying with your niece. Yes, I thought you were in Brussels. Oh, gosh. That is what I'm really looking forward to seeing, your pictures of Brussels. Bruges. I really, really want to go to Bruges. But, anyway, I might live through your adventures. But yes, definitely put lots of pictures up so we could see. Yeah, thank you, Marianne. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm still got bits and pieces that I'm working through with it, but I'm hoping to, I'll announce something like that in the new year, so you can decide if you want to pop in and have a look. But I just think the YouTube is going to be a better way for me to travel. Oops, take that off a bit. Okay, that'll probably do for that. Just let that sit there for a second. Now, I've got these other book papers. I might just have a look in here and see. Okay, oh, Luxembourg. All sounds very awesome. And I know you'll have a wonderful time. I've just got a bit of printed text here. I might just throw a bit of that on. And I always find doing the collage, putting this text down. Now, I know I get all excited when I'm doing this, and when I start putting other layers on top of it, I cover up most of this. But, you know, that's okay, because whilst I'm doing this, I'm actually thinking about the plan of what I'm hoping to achieve with my journaling here. So I feel like it's one of those, it's a preparations. It's getting me into the zone, and I think that's a good thing. So, you know, I mean, I know I'm talking here at the moment, so I'm not too much in the zone. But when I'm on my own doing this, you know, that's where a lot of the thought, oops, bit of print smudging there. But that's where a lot of the processes start, and you know, this leads into something else. But anyway, we'll see how it all goes. It's just time for me to have a bit of a play without too many you know, barriers, obligations, that kind of thing. I just create what I want to create here tonight. So that's what we're all about. I think I'll leave it at that. Don't want to get too carried away with it. So I'm just going to give that a burst of heat just to dry that off a little bit. Actually, sorry, I should put some over here as well if I'm doing that. Forgot about, I'm doing a couple of pages here, so I'll just do a couple of bits over here. I will, you know, cover up the hearts because I will be painting, obviously, and so it'll all have the same sort of techniques and processes on it as well. Brush is a bit wet, so just adhere that down a little bit, just for interest's sake. Grab a little bit of this text. So sometimes I like to overlap when I'm doing my layers, so it all looks like it's all forming one picture. There we go. Might just dry this off. I will put a little bit on this side too, but I better dry this off first. So is anyone creating along tonight or doing some cleaning up or something? Okay, it's not quite dry, but it'll be dry enough so I can just pop over to here, just put a little bit on there. It's quite fluid, this particular matte medium. So I've got to be careful not to put too much on, because sometimes I do tend to do that, especially when I'm using a brush. It's only because I'm only using the brush because it was there. Can always draw those hearts back in later. You did your last creating yesterday. You did a gorgeous job too, I might add, Susan. If you haven't seen Susan's Salute to the Gods, she's done a brilliant job of that. I'm actually working up higher too, because I've got my book sitting on top of a box of all my funky fossil stuff, because it just to try and get, because I mean even now I can see I'm not quite in camera there, and which the reels are really good, but they're not good for creating, because you need space when you're creating. Awesome. Okay. Oh, excuse me. I might grab a little bit of gesso, white gesso, and just sort of just throw a bit of gesso around the pages. Just move all my hearts, because I can just see I'm going to get paint all over them. So just to the side here, it's not on screen, but I'm just putting out a little bit of gesso. Just cleaning my brush to get rid of all that medium. So I'm just putting a little bit of gesso, and I might get a new brush because I want a dry brush. Okay, so I'm just dry brushing, and I'm just going to sort of push some of the the collage back a little bit, so I'm just in between, taking over a little bit. And also, something that I haven't done that I normally do is gesso the whole background. Normally I do, because I don't like, I'm not a big fan of the creamy pages that are on in the Delusions diaries, but that's why I usually do a layer of gesso, because I like to start off with a white background most often, unless I'm doing my craft journal, of course. But that's just a me thing, you know. But tonight, I guess, because I knew I was going to be using some book papers and that, the book papers are old and they're a bit yellowy too, so, you know, I thought, oh well, let's just step outside the square. So I'm just kind of covering the whole page, I suppose, because that's just the way I rock. But I'm trying to just push back the all that printed matter collage. Don't want to push it back too much, because I'm going to put colour on it in a minute. So I'll just be very careful here. And it doesn't matter if I cover up the hearts, because I can always draw them back in later. And I guess this is just going to go back to the old school of just doing a journal page for the sake of doing a journal page. no idea of real new techniques or anything. You know, I'm not doing anything that you probably don't already know about. Anyway, okay, so I'm happy with that. Just drying it off now. Okay, so that's done. Just get that medium out the way there for the moment. Alright, so I'll just bring back some of these hearts because I want to start thinking about doing some background colours. And like you can sort of see here, there's a lot of pinks. There's blues and that as well on here. But I guess I might sort of go for the lightish green. So from Dina Wakley, the turquoise. Let's have a look what I've got here. Turquoise. Gosh, I'm going to need more turquoise. You know, and the sky. I might even go a little bit deeper because they, you know, use the peacock, that kind of thing. And look, I'll even go in with some yellow. I'm just sort of picking out colours at the moment. And so I will go with the lime. Actually, I'll use that. Is that lime? Yep, I'll use that lime. So look, I've got 4 colours there. Let me have a look at what I've got here. My other tray here. I might even go with a little bit of mineral, just something a little bit different, but we'll see how we go. And because I want the hearts to pop out a little bit, and I will be treating these with a bit of stamping or something on it a bit later, but that's okay. So on my palette beside me here, just cleaning up, getting rid of some space. Excuse me a minute, just get rid of this gesso out the way. Thank you. Bringing in, now my palette won't be on screen, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to be laying out some of these colours onto my palette. I've chosen to use Dina Wakley tonight, not for any particular reason, just, I just think I need to keep changing them up all the time because otherwise they'll dry out if I don't keep using them. So that's the only reason, particularly in summer here, it gets very, very... I'm just putting a little bit out at the moment. Let me see, the turquoise. Gosh, I don't know why I've gone through so much turquoise. I've got 2 practically nothing bottles here at the moment. Sky, let's try a bit of sky. Oops, excuse me. And that's sky, got peacock. Grab some of this. Mineral, so it's sort of like a grey colour. It's got that little bit of bluey colour in it. And I will grab some lemon. Just as a bit of a... Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to dipping into the sky, and I'm dry brushing, hopefully, it's kind of dry brush, and I'm just going to, just add some colours, taking it down to the edges. Because I'm using the same analogous colours, I shouldn't have too much issue with. I should just put that there. Not that you can sort of see it much, but this is just the off page a bit. Really frustrating. I'm sorry, guys. I really do apologise for this. The only other option, I guess, is Zoom, but I'm not a real big fan of Zoom. It sometimes can be a little bit hard for people to get into, and I just don't want that sort of stress for you or for me. So I think the YouTube will be the way to go for me. But I will keep you posted. Okay, so I'm just going into a bit of turquoise now. I've just done some peacock on there as well. And I'll do some stenciling on here so it'll make it a little bit more interesting. And this is a really easy way of getting paint down without using a lot of paint and a lot of thought to, it's just putting the paint down, covering up the page. I'm going over a little bit, and I can do that because I'm using the same colour, the same side of the colour wheel, the analogous colours, so that means that they're all on the same side and there's no worrying about getting mud. Need a bit more blue. Zoom is fun if you're playing along. No, yeah, I agree with you, Susan, because I've done that myself too, where I've watched, but it's, yeah, I agree. It's not my ideal way of doing things. But I can see why people do it, because you can interact with the people, and which can be a good thing. It just makes things a bit longer, How's that looking on the screen? I have to look up and see what it's doing. And look, I just keep blending until I'm happy. And I mostly just want it covered. I can still see through to the collage. And you could put water in with your paints if you want to really see that collage paper coming through. Or you could use clear glaze medium. Clear glaze medium makes your paints translucent and watery, but it doesn't change the integrity of the colour. So the colour stays there, because when you use water, the colour is lost because it's watered down. But when you use a medium, like a clear glaze medium, or there's other mediums out there as well, but to be honest with you, I think they all do the same thing. It makes the colour translucent, but it doesn't change the intensity of the hue. So it's always something, and I'm surprised that we don't use it more in journaling, but I think it might be something that I'll introduce. And I want to do something like that next year, is do up a couple of sessions where we're looking at mediums and what they do and what they don't do, and and how you don't necessarily have to buy them all to get the job done. Anyway, I'll call that done. Dry that off, and then I'll put a little bit on this side, and then we'll be finished with that. I didn't end up putting any lime green on that, and that's okay. Hi, Robin. Because it is always a question that people struggle with, is about mediums and how to use them and what to use them for. And I am surprised in the art journaling world that we don't use clear glaze medium more often. Because it has a lot of uses as well, not just for... You can use it as a glaze over your work when you finish, so if you want to protect it, and it just gives it it's kind of a satin sheen, so you do get a bit of a satin sheen when it's finished. Now I'm just going to quickly put a little bit of paint on this one. And because it's just small, I'm just going to put it all over. Oh, this is dreadful, running out of paint. I need to look at my paints more often because I hop between the different ones. I've got a bit of... I have to use another brush now. To use another brush because I stuck that one in the water. I'm just going to put that in behind there. Need some more blue. Haven't cleaned my brush up, but that's okay. Now, you've probably all done this sort of background before. Yes, it looks very messy at the moment, but this is where we have the opportunity to put lots of stamping and stenciling on, and just to tie all of those elements together. And it takes a messy background into a beautiful background. Okay, probably put more paint on there than I need to. Yep, that'll do nicely. Lid on that. Okay, quickly dry this one off. Trying to clean up as I go along because I've got 20 paints out here. Lost a lid somewhere. Oh, there it is. All right, okie dokie. So let's have a look. Put that back in there. Alright, so we've got all of that there. I mean, at this point you could put some more collage paper and that kind of thing on it. It's entirely up to you. I mean, if I had some of Nat's, the rainbow collage paper that she had, I've still got some of that here. I probably could put some of that on as well, but it's probably going to bring it too close to the hearts. So what I'm going to do is grab my stencil that I had out before, the heart stencil. So this is the Funky Fossil one. I think it's Claire Stead from one of her ranges. Can't be too sure about that, but I'm fairly sure it is. I might do the rub-off technique like that we've all done and love. This is another good technique to do if you're wanting to put lots of coverage without sort of putting too much onto it. So again, for those that don't know, I'm just getting myself some baby wipes. Okay, just put the baby wipes there for a minute. So what I'm going to do here, and because I'm in Brisbane tonight and it's quite muggy and all that sort of thing, I will work quickly, so I might just do it piecey. I may not do it all over, so we'll just sort of see how I go, because you don't want the paint to dry too quickly. And so I'll just do a little bit there, grab the stencil, grab a wet wipe and just rub gently. So it means then that I've just wiped off all the gesso from there, and I've ended up with a few little hearts there. Okay, just a very, very generic organic look. And again, I may not do it all over, but I'm certainly not going to be doing it very strategic. Okay, I'm going to try and be a little bit. Now I have in the past, I've let that sort of dry off a little bit. But you do have to be careful, because obviously the longer you leave it, the harder it is going to be to get it off. Because sometimes particularly if your wet wipe is very moist, if I can use that word, quite often when I know I'm going to do this technique, I'll take these out half an hour before, because you often get the moisture left on the page there. So quite often I'll take them off, or I'll let it dry. So I've been talking here now and I've kind of let that dry off a bit. It makes it harder to get it off. So it just depends on whether you don't mind that technique where it's just that little bit harder to get the paint off. And so can you sort of see there that now that white is a little bit more intense than that white that's over there? I mean, I don't think I put on any more. I might have, but I think it's because I've allowed it to sort of sit there and begin the process of drying that it's actually made it more intense. So can you see what I'm doing there? I'm just going to bring this just a little bit in the corner there, and I'll just always move your, turn your wet wipe around so that you're not always rubbing, because otherwise then you're rubbing the white paint back on there too. Leave that for a couple of seconds, and then I'll just put that on there. I always make sure that the stencil comes off the side a little bit, because just makes it a little bit more interesting too. Okay, alright, so yep, quite like that. Sometimes I just dab over it a little bit. And also too, I've taken off some of the bottom layer too, which is good. I think it makes it look a little bit more interesting, and it does depend on how much you rub it, how hard, how vigorous you are with your rubbing. So I'll just let that sit there for a little bit. Yeah, see, already it's kind of got a nice little look about it. Okay, so I'll put this over here. I'm in the crease there, so I don't know how I'll go. I mean, we tend to do white, like I'm doing white here. You could do any colour. I may go over it with a different colour. You can always rub it back if you feel that it's looking a little bit too structured or whatever. I'll bring this over now. Sorry if hope I haven't missed any comments. I'll keep an eye out, but If I do, I'll answer them later. I might put a little bit down there too. Do this one first. Put this off. Whoops. Okay. So I don't mind if it goes over. I've sort of gone over a little bit there, and that's okay. Haven't quite decided what I'm doing with the heart shapes there yet. That will come. Might just get another baby wipe. My personal preference for the baby wipes is the Woolies brand. I'm not a big fan of the Coles ones at all. I just find them too moist, too wet, which is great for babies' bums, but not for my journal pages. Okay. Oops, sorry, knocked the camera then. Oops, sorry about that. Oh, hi Lisa, how are you, lovely? So I'll just dry that off a little bit there. Actually, no, that's annoying me there, although I'll probably paint over this in a minute. I'll just put that little heart there. Just that it wasn't danced. That's a bit better. Okay, so I'm just going to dry all this off. I'll just move that over as best I can. So those joining in, I was saying to everyone before that next year I'm going to change my format to doing YouTube lives, because this Reels business with Facebook is just not working for me, and I don't know what the issue is, but it just won't go to do the landscape like we normally do. And so anyway, I'm going to be moving over to YouTube. Hence why it's, you know, it's just not easy to work with this. Okay, usually doesn't take too much to dry that off, because you've wiped off most of the paint. Okay, start off in this corner. Depending on the size of your stencil too, I suppose, as to how big a block you can do. Keep that in mind too, because you've got to get it all off quickly and that kind of thing. This page here looks a little bit different to the other one because it looks a bit more greeny, which is good. There we go. So it's quite nice like that. Comes sit nicely through there. Just put a little bit there, and I'll come down here a bit. May even go over that a bit more. And I get lost in this too sometimes, and I do more than I intended to do. Just a little bit there, that's it. And a little tiny. There we go. All right. Just wiping this off, get any of that excess. awesome. Whoops, sorry, I'm knocking everything around. Yeah, absolutely, Lisa. It'll still be connected to the Facebook here. I'll still be working from kind of this format here, this platform, the Inspired Art Journaling. But you know, there'll be all the links and everything too, and it'll all be there. You can always catch up later too. So I'll let everyone know when it's all set. But I'm planning on it for beginning of next year or earlier. Okay. All right. Now, something else that I often do too, I've put some yellow out before because I was going to be putting some yellow on. I completely forgot about using it. I'll probably use the yellow to do a few splatters and that later on. But something I also like to do with my stenciling, and this is something that I originally learned off through Tracy Scott years ago, and you know, it is still one of my go-tos, and I know I've done lots of lives here using this technique, but it is something that I really like to do, and that's just doing layers and layers of the stencil. So I'll go back to, I've got a little bit of ocean here. Actually, no, I might go with the legit. It's supposed to be the fluoro colour. I don't know that it is real fluoro, but it's a nice blue colour from Dina Wakley. So I'm going to use some of that. So I've just got that out to the side. And I'll also grab, just grab my white. I tend to use this white because I use the Artilia's white because I buy big bottles of it. Okay, now, makeup. Oh gosh, what's leaking all over that? Let's try another one. Something leaked on that, so I won't use that. So I've got a makeup sponge here, and I'm just going to dab it into I'll bring my palette over for a bit. I'm dabbing it over a little, and just to cover it up a bit. So I'm just using the legit straight out of the bottle. Now, I'm not looking at the bottom to see how it's placed over the bottom layer that I've done, because this is just one of maybe 2 or 3 layers that I might do. I don't know if I'll do 2 or 3 tonight, but you know, when I'm here creating on my own, I have been known to do 9 layers using this same stencil in slightly different hues of colour. So you can see the only problem is with the legit, it will be a translucent colour, but that's okay because I'm just putting down colour. I don't necessarily want to change the colour with it, but I don't know if it was a good choice for this. So I tend to, I'm going to put some ocean on. Oh, I've got sky here. I'll put sky on top of it. It's slightly different colour, but it's a bit thicker. And I'm not worrying about the fact that I've now changed colour, because it's all going to sort of meld in together by the time I'm finished. And I just dab, 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 dab. This is why when you often, if you see my lives or whatever I'm doing, and my stencils have colour paint from previous, it's because of this technique that I do. I'm not a real fastidious cleaner of stencils, of anything really. So I don't mind my stencils getting a bit of paint on, but you know, your paint does tend to dry on your stencil a little bit here, so you'd have to have a good soaker scrub to get all the paint off. And what I will probably do with this is to, normally I go to keep getting lighter and lighter until I end up with white, but because I've already done the white, I might actually cross over to a pink, dry it all off and then do a little bit of pink, just to start introducing that pink colour that's going to come into it later. Now we're going for time because I don't want to be... Is that an hour already? Goodness me. Whoops. And it doesn't matter if you haven't got perfect stenciling on it too. I'm just dabbing off a little bit of excess paint there, okay? Now, just going to quickly just dry that off a little bit. I won't do this side, I'll do that after, because I didn't realise it was going to take so long. Now, I on my palette, before I put it the legit and I put some white, so I'm going to mix those two together because it's making a very light colour. It also makes it thicker too, because white is kind of a thickish sort of colour. When I do the next layer, I just do make sure that I'm not in the same space as what I've done there, so I deliberately make a good choice for it to be in a different spot, and then start doing the same thing over again. We're not looking for perfection of putting the stencil on here. We're just making a very textured background. Very textured. So by the time I get through this, it'll probably end up being almost white, as the blue colour disappears a little bit. And you don't have to do the whole stencil, just do it in sections if you wish. Just make sure it's quite different to the first layer in position. This is a technique I love doing when I've got a leaf stencil. I just love doing it because I turn it around so that the leaves all go different ways, and so it really lends itself to that kind of thing. So it's getting quite white now because I've gone through the blue, but that's okay. We're just wanting textured colours, the textured hues in here. Of paint. Oh, lots of white there. And I'm not being fussy with it. You can see there some of those are standing out, so then I'll go over here and make sure that some of these stand out a little bit. Okay. Down here, and honestly it's just about trying these things out. Give it a go. What can you do? If it doesn't work out, just paint it over it. I'll finish up that side later. Now this one looks a bit odd because there's not much white on it, so I'm just going to come back here a bit. And this is one of those things you think, oh my God, why'd she do all of that underneath? Because now you can't see it. Well, you know, I do this art journaling for therapy as well. You know, it makes me feel good to do it. So if putting on 15 layers of stencil helps me get through the day, that's good. Alright, so this is why my stencils always end up looking very coloured. I won't do anything with that now. I'm going to give it a good soak overnight in soapy water, and that will come off all nice later on. Okay, bit of a quick dry. So when you're looking at it on the screen, you're not really seeing, all you're seeing is lots of different tones of colour. But it's not until you actually get looking into it that you can see that there are some hearts there. Or whatever stencil you're using. Quite often too, you could, at this point, you could get a pencil. Alright, why don't we do it? Let's get a... I think I've got a Stabilo here. Have I got a Stabilo? I don't use Stabilos often, but I'm sure I have one here. Yep, Stabilo. So you could just very roughly go around. Okay. If you're lucky enough to have different coloured ones, I think I've got a white one here too. I could use that. And so you might want to identify some of these hearts. So I'm looking down into the layers so that I can see the hearts that are underneath as well. Alright, and you can make a few up as you go along too. Whoops. My fingers weren't working very well then. Okay, little one up the top there. Little tiny one. Okay, and I'll just do one there as well. Alright, so here we go. Start doing them all. I'm just trying to balance it out a little bit, that was all. Okay, something like that. So you could do that if you wanted to. I could get the brush and do a little bit of a shadow on that. Okay. But only if you want to make that sort of softer. It does soften that side off a little bit. Probably wouldn't do it too much, just a little bit, because I don't want to. And if you do it and it is too intense, you might have to just wait till it dries off. And now I don't know if painting will reactivate it, because I tend to use the Derwent, what is it, Inktense pencils, and I know that they will dry permanently. They don't reactivate. Once they're dry, they don't reactivate. But I have a feeling, I'm not sure, I could be wrong, someone out there might be able to tell me that if the Stabilo dries permanently. I suppose we're about to find out, aren't we? Look at this. And you don't need much water to, says I. It's just got a lot of water on there. Also, I like the Inktense too, because you can get them in lots and lots and lots of different colours. what's her name? Art by Marlene. She uses Inktense pencils as well. I've seen her do some colouring with some of her stuff. Alright, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I just wanted to show you that you could do that if you wanted to add a little bit of interest. I probably would refrain from doing, you can get a red Stabilo. I would refrain from probably doing that because it'll make it look too, red just seems to be really intense. At this point, I mean, you know, I could have done more layers and that kind of thing. I'm not going to do any more. I will grab a small brush, and on the yellow that I've got here, I'm going to make a puddle because I'm just going to do some splatters with the yellow. Oops, not big ones like that, preferably. You've just got to get that, the fluidity of the paint, because sometimes it can be really hard. I mean, I don't have one of those brushes that do this. That's why also too I like to use ink when I'm doing my splatters, because it's just the right consistency for splatters. It doesn't need any water. So I tend to use my artist inks, the Liquitex artist ink. Dry that off a bit. Don't have to clean this. Hi Shell, how are you, lovely? Hope you're keeping well. Going to grab out a pen because I'm not going to do a lot more to this. Another thing about using the inks for splatters is they dry quicker too. Now, something else that I like to do is just make sure I've got no big splotches there. Is I've got myself the thin pen, a uniball pen, and I'm just going to do some writing, you know, or just scribbles every now and then all over the page. It's not saying anything, it doesn't mean anything. It's just something that I like to do sometimes, and just adds a little bit of interest to the page. Okay. I'll just sort of bring that up a little bit just so you can sort of see. Just bring it up a bit higher, just this side here, just so you can sort of see some of that writing a little bit. doesn't say anything. It's just scribbles, scribbles, scribbles. Alright, okay. Now, something I've taken to using at the moment is this ink pad. So I'm just grabbing some stamps down. This ink pad, the Hickory Smoke, I really like it because it just gives a little bit of interest without being too intense. Like, to me, the hearts, although they're probably kind of like a focal point to the page, so they need to stand out a little bit. But now I want to put some mark making stamping on the back. I don't necessarily want it to look too intense, and sometimes your black archival ink can look too intense. It's great for your ghosting, but I just think this is a much more subtle way with, I guess, it's a smoky way of putting some marks on the back of your page. So I don't know. What I want. Oh, I always go to dots. I'm sick of you doing dots all the time. Dots can be boring. Yeah, no, because I'm holding you up. I'm going to use this one here. It's lines. This is this will be one of Seth Apter's mini stamps from Paper Artsy. I think I've just about got all of his that come out when they do, because I just love his his stamping, his style. So again, I'm just using, and I find, like, I don't have to, often with the jet black or the black archival ink, I'll stamp off to the side to get rid of all of the ink. But I find I don't have to do that with this because it starts off that way already. And of course, I just go nuts when I do this. I'll bring it up in a moment so you can sort of see what's happening. But it's there, but it's subtle. Just put the lid on that. Bring that up. You can kind of see it on there. Another one. Oh, sorry, I keep bumping that camera. So you can sort of see there. It's kind of subtle, but it's not too overpowering. And yes, Seth Apter. I'm doing a class with him next year, actually, so I'm really looking forward to it because I've been a fan of his for a while, but have always missed him. But anyway, next year is my year, and so I quite like it, and so it's just made it that really subtle sort of look to it. And also, I've also got it. This is my stamp blending tool for the Hickory Smoke, and so what I will do on some of my little hearts here that I've cut out before, I will put that on too, and again it just makes it a little bit more subtle, puts that edge on it, but it's a subtle edge. Let me just get rid of this stuff, get that out of the way. And look, and honestly, all I'm going to be doing is just gluing these onto here. I haven't even got my sentiment out yet, but I'll put something on. Maybe put a word on each of the hearts, and so I haven't sort of gone beyond that. And I don't even know why I chose hearts tonight. I don't know, I just saw something and I thought, oh yeah, hearts. And for those who weren't here at the beginning, all I've done here is I made this afternoon I made 3 templates of hearts, different sizes, and I went through my stash and found all these pieces of paper that I had created using, when I'm trying out my new Lindy's and that kind of thing. And it's just something I do when I get some new Lindy's, so I'll be doing it again hopefully tomorrow I get them, I think. Hopefully tomorrow or the next day I'll get my new Lindy's, which I'm so excited about. And I will obviously create some more of these. And anyone who's been in one of my groups for the ATCs, you always get a little thank you card from me, and that's usually these kinds of papers where I've just created using Lindy's, using up the leftovers, and just make little thank you cards or something out of them. Tags, I mean, not really cards. Now, I don't know how I'm going to go with this one here. I might just draw around that. I might not even use that one. Okay, so let's just see what we've got. I will probably draw around the edges of those as well. There's my lid, get rid of that. Now let's just see, because what I'll probably end up doing, because I was going to do all sorts of other things, but we just don't have time for that. It's just amazing how long it takes for me to create my background sometimes. So what I'll probably do is glue the hearts onto there. I could probably put that heart on there. Okay, so for the cutout shapes, oh sorry, you can't see what I'm doing, sorry. Oh, I hope there'll be some Lindy's when you get back to, mind you, it's the sort of thing, if she runs out, she's probably got a second order already coming. I think that's kind of how it works. She gets an order in and then she's ordered another lot straight away, so I don't think you'll have any problem, because there's another product too that's got to come out. It wasn't ready or something at the time, so I think I heard it say that it's coming next week. Okay, so something like that. So I'll glue those down there, and then the rest of them I'll just sort of glue all over the place too, and I'll probably put words of inspiration inside there. So let me just get my ink, my glue. Now I'll be doing one more live on the Wednesday nights in 2 weeks' time. What's today? The 6th. That's the 20th. So the 20th of December will be my last live on the what is it? The Inspired Art Journaling, the Watch Me Work Wednesdays. So that get ready for Christmas. But, I mean, if I'm creating and that kind of thing, I'll put some posts up, but the live on the 20th will be the last one before Christmas. I'm actually thinking of putting a poll up too to see what you guys would like to do. What things you would like for next year and that kind of thing, because, I do create for my own enjoyment, but I also, if I'm going to be showing you things, I want to show you things that you want to see. Like I've already talked about the mediums. Probably do that in February when everyone's settled down, kids are back at school and all that kind of thing, and because January and that, lots of people are on holidays, so I don't want people to miss out. So maybe that is something that I will work towards for February. But anyway, I'll put a little a poll up or something like that, so you can give me some ideas on what you would like to see done on these inspiration nights, and we'll see what we can do for you. Okay, so what I will do too is, I won't do it tonight, but on this page here, because I've still got a bit of doing stuff to do there, I'll do the same thing. So I'll glue some more bigger ones on that side, and or something like that, unless I come up with a better idea. But that's kind of that there. And maybe I might leave those big ones and we'll just fill up. So I'm just going to fill up this page over here. I just want to I'm just bringing you into camera there. And so what I'll do is I'll glue some of these down, and then I'll put some up a little bit higher, put them on foam tape, and they're not necessarily, I'll do them so they're facing all different ways and that. Some of these are on quite thick card too, so they might take a little bit of getting. So I'll put that there. Okay, so we're almost getting to the hour-and-a-half point here, so I'm just going to glue some of these down. I'll put the words on, all that kind of thing, and then I will take some photos and put it up. And I might have to cut some more hearts too. I didn't think I'd use them all, but maybe something like that. And put those up a little bit higher. And we'll put some words on here, and then I'll take some photos so you can see. I love this rainbowy sort of one. I'm assuming that this is all when the tea and crumpets come out. I'm not too sure, but I've had these in my stash for a while, so it could be anything. And what I will do is just get a couple of dots. I tend to over-engineer on these things. Okay. So, and I might even just make sure that I'm covering. There you go. I just want to cover those up a little bit. And I should have another one. There's another one. So I think I might need a couple more. So I think I'll do that and add a couple more on, but I won't do that tonight. I'll put that one there. So I think I will be doing up a couple more, because I'd like a couple more to link those together as well. So I'll do that tomorrow, and because I've run out of hearts. I thought I'd done enough, but I obviously haven't. So pretty much that's it in a nutshell. I don't know whether I'll put like a saying on here, so a nice, nice thoughts on the let me just bring it over. Nice thoughts on the big hearts here, and then some little nice words, you know, on the little one there. And I'll put a bit of a border around. And look, honestly, that was just a real quick sort of page to do tonight. You know, nothing a lot done there. Thank you, everyone, for your emojis there. And yeah, so I'll finish this off and put some pictures up tomorrow, and hopefully I'll see you again on the 20th of December, because that will be the last one before Christmas anyway. And make sure, if you are going away, everyone, and having holidays, have a great time, because I know it's getting busy now. We've got kids at home and all that kind of thing, and we've got to get our Christmases intact. But, you know, keep an eye out. I'll do the odd post every now and then and that kind of thing. And so look forward to also working out what I'm going to do with it next year as well. So keep in touch with that. And yes, thank you, Susan. Thanks, Marianne and everyone. Awesome. So, Marianne, you're a girl after my own heart. There'll be no shortage of me doing anything with Lindy's. Okay, darling, because I absolutely adore the product. And now that I've got the 3 new sets coming, hopefully tomorrow, if not the next day. And so I'll be having lots of fun with those. But yes, there'll definitely always be Lindy's done. And okay, so thank you, everyone. Have a great night, and check in tomorrow and have a look at the page and see how it's finished up. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate your interest and taking the time to stay with me. Okay, thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.